Kraken Home Ice is sponsored by Primera Blue Cross, always in your corner.
The Seattle Kraken are back. The boys report for duty. Here he comes, throwing snow out in front, turned along, they score! Couple of bright haymakers from Hayden. Centers one. No, off the bar, it stays out. 2-on-1, Myers scores! All alone is right there. He scores! That's Kraken hockey, baby!
It's almost time for a new hockey season. Welcome to the debut of Kraken Home Ice. I'm Paul Sylvie. As the Kraken get set to take on the St. Louis Blues in their season opener, we at King 5, the official partners of the Kraken, have you completely covered as we get to know the new coaching staff and a revamped team. The Kraken missed the playoffs last season, but this time around, they have their sights squarely set on a return to the postseason. The Kraken wrapped up the preseason at home with a 6-2 win over the Oilers. One of the biggest takeaways of the preseason, the development of center Shane Wright. The Kraken drafted him 4th overall in the 2022 draft, and since then, Wright has been working to earn his spot in the NHL. Head coach Dan Bylsma says, with maturity and growth, he's excited to see the player Wright is going to be this season. The preseason was also the first chance for Kraken fans to see center Chandler Stevenson and defenseman Brandon Montour in action. Montour, a prized free agent signing from Stanley Cup champion Florida, is cementing his place on defense and quickly becoming a fan favorite. The Kraken have also yet to name a team captain. They are currently the only team in the NHL without a player wearing a C. Kraken head coach Dan Bylsma has gotten to know his team a little bit through training camp and the preseason. We had a chance to sit down with Dan, and he likes what he sees so far.
I think how we want to compete is something that is gotten into camp the first 14 days and into our games. I think the asking the guys to be the most competitive group at any and every given night, and I think we've seen a lot of pieces of that so far in camp.
So if you had to pick out a player or two that have maybe stood out, who jumps off the page?
A couple guys have really impressed me with camp. We're talking about 62 guys in camp to start with. So we've seen some really good things out of Jacob Melanson, John Hayden, Billy Ottavainen. They had a lot to show and a lot to prove in camp, and they did that. I think Andrei Barakowski has showed extremely well in camp for me. Just his skating, his ability has really been impressive for me in this camp, and I guess it can't be overlooked. Brendan Montour's camp. It's a new player to the Kraken, free agent signing, and a lot of hype about as to what kind of player and person he is, and it has been very evident. He has a lot of juice, a lot of energy, and a really solid player.
With a shot, he scores! Brendan Montour!
You've talked a little bit about his fitness level and things like that. Is he what guy that players will go toward and realize who it is and back off a little bit because he's just, he's got this silent toughness about him?
If you're talking about the opposition backing off, that would be great. But he's definitely got a presence about his play and his person, and the other team knows they're competing against that when they go out. So it's great to see.
Is it tough for you as a coach because the practices start, you only get like a few practices, then the preseason games come on, and then this NHL preseason into the regular season seems to be super fast and probably difficult for a new coach and his new team.
Yeah, it is. It happens quick and it happens fast. And with the number of games in the short amount of days as well, you're already into a, just play games mode, not practice mode. But we got to fight against that and make sure we're getting the right amount of work and the right amount of mentality to have everybody be comfortable with how we're going to play at the start of the season.
Got a veteran goalkeeper or goaltender like Grubauer. How important is it to have a veteran of his kind of leadership, maybe silent leadership that he carries back there?
He just it's confident and calm, and just a demeanor that he's been through it before. He's been through a lot of different scenarios as a goaltender and tandems and the main guy and a backup guy, and he's had success in the playoffs. He's had success on different playoff runs. He's got a calm, confident demeanor about him, and just putting in his work, putting in his time, and everything's going to be okay. Follow me, everything's going to be okay, and that's a huge thing for the demeanor of the team and the success of the team.
Yeah, well, we're all looking forward to it. I know you are too. So good luck this season, and we'll be chatting with you.
All right, thank you.
Bilesma takes over a team with some young stars, including center Matty Beniers, who signed a 7-year contract extension in the offseason. He's the first Seattle draft pick to sign an extension. Ariel Orsuto sat down with Matty to talk about his commitment to the Kraken.
Matty Beniers, partial 2-on-1, a shot, he scores! Hey, what do you say?
Just excited to get going. Seems like, we got a lot of good energy here at camp right now. Obviously new coach, new guys, so just, getting the pieces together and then, getting better moving forward.
For you personally, obviously, you signed that 7-year, $50 million contract in the offseason. You're the first person in this franchise to be like a franchise player for this team. Does that make you nervous in any way, that you have to kind of live up to something?
Yeah, I think, when you obviously get a contract like that, you have, expectations on yourself and from the team and from, the outside, the fans, people like that. So, there's definitely expectations that, you want to fulfill and, hopefully do better than them. But, you try not to think about it. You just try to play hockey and play your game and, hope that all comes together.
When you talk about those expectations, think back to last year. What do you think about when you think about your play last year?
Yeah, I think, overall I didn't do as well as I, wanted to. Whether it's different things, not being able to put the puck in the net, execution things, I think, just wasn't really working for me as well as I had hoped. I think, the good thing is I'd say my expectation for my play are higher than, everyone else around me.
Does having a guy like Chandler Stevenson sign here, does that inspire you? Do you pull anything from him?
Yeah, I love when we get new guys. It's always like, what can I learn from this guy? What can I take from him? We played against him a lot. I was lined up against him a lot, especially in the dot. He beat me a bunch. So, learning some, better face-offs, techniques from him. Just watching the way he plays, that's kind of how I've always been, and I like that stuff.
I know that your mom was on Broadway. Do you have any artistic side to you as well?
Yeah, a little bit. We were all like forced, kind of, not actually forced, but like we all had to play an instrument when we were younger, so we all started with piano, and then I went to violin for a little bit, then clarinet for a little bit, and then I played the saxophone until junior year of high school. And then I kind of stopped. But we were all doing instruments, and then we did a little bit of like acting and singing. She had like summer camps, and she'd force us to do those because she didn't have enough guys. So usually me and my brother would have to do them.
If I handed you anything right now, could you still play anything?
A little bit on the saxophone, a little bit on the piano, nothing else.
Music man, Matty Beniers. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Coming up next on Kraken Home Ice, the shootout. We sit down with some of the players to find out about some of their favorite things. And we'll be joined by Kraken analysts JT Brown and Allison Lukin on their expectations going into a new season. Stay with us. The Kraken have been getting the community hyped for the new season with life-sized bobbleheads. That's right, 5 life-sized bobbleheads of Matty Beniers, Jared McCann, Jaden Schwartz, Jordan Eberle, and Vince Dunn have been popping up around Seattle. They even made an appearance at King 5. A new season of Kraken hockey brings new opportunities for great moments. And with the start of Kraken Home Ice, we're introducing a new segment called The Shootout, where we ask players rapid-fire questions about their favorite food, their favorite movie, their favorite music. You get the idea. We asked the players this week what they're looking forward to most this season.
Just playing hockey, just having fun, being with the guys, and hopefully winning a lot of games. Just getting back into the rink, getting back into the game. It's been a while. We got to make the playoffs the year before. It was amazing, and to play in front of fans as great as we have, it's just awesome.
I feel like it's been a long time, so I'm excited to play hockey games again and get back in the swing of things.
Just kind of playing at Climate Pledge. I haven't played there much, but from what I remember, it's been loud, and kind of excited to see how loud the fans can get.
Well, it's just getting out there with the guys. We got a whole new group, new coaching staff, so it's going to be awesome just to get out there for the first game.
Playing in front of the fans, I think we have a lot of work to do. Last year was not what we wanted, so I think that's a big boost that we need to bring our A game from the start.
I'm just excited to get back playing in front of the fans. It's been a long time since we've played in front of them, and it was a long off season, and I think we're all fired up and ready to go and going to have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder from last season.
After missing the playoffs last season, there's a lot of expectations for this year's team. We sat down with analysts JT Brown and Allison Lucan of the Kraken broadcast team to get their expectations for this team.
The improvement I'm going to be watching for is feeding that from the back end, from the defense. Vince Dunn was really the only player who was effective at that, and when he was out last year, you saw what was missing. So the organization brings in Brandon Montour. He's so good at moving the puck up the ice fast and joining the offense, so that's what I'm watching.
Well, I'm going to copy you. I'm going to go with another new player that was brought in, and it's on the offensive side of Chandler Stevenson. Brings you, especially when you talk about the face-offs, offensively you need to start with the puck. He's one of those guys that can win the face-off. He skates well, he sees the ice well. We've seen some of the chemistry he's already formulated with some line mates, and I think it's going to help out a guy like Matty Beniers as well, Jared McCann. It's just going to help the offense grow when you have another player to worry about on the offensive side that has a ton of skill.
Okay, JT, you brought up a few players there. Who do you think is going to make a jump this season?
I'm going to pick Oliver Bjorkstrand. I think he's poised to have a really good season. And he had a great one last year. He was second on the team in points, but I think he can even get to that 30-goal mark. He scored 20 last year. He had a couple of times where he'd go 8 games without a goal, maybe 9 games without a goal. If he can level out that consistency factor, he's going to get some looks on the power play, as we've seen him do very good when he's going downhill. That shoot-first mentality, if he has that, I can see him putting in 30 goals this season.
And I love to talk about the defense. For me, it's Riker Evans. Comes up about halfway through last season, first NHL year, and he proved that he belongs on this roster. He's penciled in basically as the 6th defender. So what can he do? Can he hang with the big boys, take on a full NHL schedule, and be part of kind of driving that game from the back end as well?
I talked to Dan Baalsma a little bit before he came here about Riker, and he really is high on him as a player. But what about Baalsma? What does he bring to the table, Allison?
Riker is a perfect example of what I think he has, which is relationships with the young players in this organization. He knows the guys who've been at the NHL level as well, but he knows these younger guys who've been with him in Coachella, and he's a coach who's very focused on the relationship. He wants to talk to these players, know them, and work with them to get the most out of their game, and that is how everyone on this team is going to take a big next step.
Well, I'm going to echo kind of the similar point. It's all about, like you said, the relationship. So how fast can he get them to buy into what he's talking about? When it comes to the X's and O's as a coach, there's some things you can do, but nobody's really reinventing the wheel here when we're talking about the NHL and what we're doing systems-wise. But I think it's how fast you can buy in. How fast can you get the young guys, which you've already had a relationship with them down in Coachella Valley. Now the new guys up here in the National Hockey League, how do you get everybody to buy in? It's those people skills. He's done great with that. You see him out at practice. He looks like he's always trying to have fun with the players, bring out a different side of them. It's just a little bit different of an energy from him. And I think if you can get everybody to buy in, the quicker you do, the faster the Seattle Kraken will find success.
All right, great. Thank you for the insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kraken General Manager Ron Francis is optimistic heading into a new season. We'll sit down with him to discuss his big offseason moves. And we hear from the Kraken's top draft pick, Berkeley Catton, on what he's taking away from his first NHL training camp.
Assist of the Week is sponsored by Primera Blue Cross, always in your corner.
Throughout the hockey season, we will be highlighting Kraken players, coaches, and community members with the Assist of the Week. It can be in the game or in the community. This week's assist goes to the inaugural Seattle Kraken 5K. Green Lake Park was overtaken by Kraken fans. All proceeds are going to the Kraken Hockey Fights Cancer Fund. Kraken general manager Ron Francis has had a busy offseason, from hiring a new head coach to extending contracts of players to signing new players. And now we're just days away from the season opener. We sat down with Ron to discuss his expectations for the team.
It's tough in the preseason because you don't really have your full lineup going, right? So it's a little bit more, you're trying to get a look at the guys for your NHL team and what that's going to look like. You're trying to get a look at what depth players you're going to want to call up when they get to CV. And then you're also looking at your junior kids and how they're progressing. So a lot of things happening in training camp, but we're not getting down to our numbers now. So it gets more exciting as we get closer to opening day. And we believe we've got a good team. We're excited to get them on the ice and start showing that.
How important was it to get guys like Matty Beniers under contract and shore up some of these guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, we re-signed Tolvanen this summer, got Matty done, and Larson extended. So, you know, 3 big pieces to our team. So really excited for Matty. He's a good young player. I think last year, obviously not having the contract has played on his mind a little bit. Hopefully that in his back pocket now would be more relaxed and go out there and do the things he's capable of doing.
Has anybody jumped out at you here in preseason?
You know, I think the one guy that's really made a step is Shane Wright. You know, you look at kind of the progression for him. He just seems like a different kid this year. He's come in much more confident, much more at ease with everything in the process, and he's had a strong camp. So that's been real positive for us. You know, we just talked about Matty, but this is a kid last year played at 171. He showed up at camp this year 184. He was actually training and putting on muscle, so he looks real good and stronger. And you know, now our job is to make sure as we progress through the season, we can keep that weight on him and sort of set the new foundation moving forward.
All right, one last question. We have Dan Bylsma, a whole new coaching staff. Does it take a while for the players and coaches to get on the same page?
You know, obviously Dan has his own tweaks to the system. We're not going to play the exact same way that Hack played, so there's different changes that we're trying to do and learn. That takes a little bit of time with the players. I think he has familiarity with Jess because they work together in CV. He's had some familiarity with Bob Woods because he worked with him in the past in Buffalo. So I think that helps him on the staff. And then having Dave Lowry and Steve Briere returning from our staff, they understand our players and they can help them with that as well. So I think the process has gone relatively smooth to this point, but yeah, there are going to be changes. There are going to be some sort of tweaks and kinks that we have to go through, but hopefully those are all ironed out once we get rolling here next week.
All right, we're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Paul.
Berkeley Catton heard his name called 8th overall in this year's NHL draft. Now he's back on the east side playing for the Spokane Chiefs. We talked to Berkeley about some of the lessons he learned in his short time with the NHL to take back to the WHL.
The Seattle Kraken are proud to select from the Spokane Chiefs, Berkeley Catton.
8th overall pick Berkeley Catton is the newest cat on campus for the Seattle Kraken, and he just wrapped up his first camp with the big boys.
It's the NHL, and it's pretty surreal saying that, and you know, this has been my dream my whole life, so to kind of be here now, it's pretty cool.
His dream was realized at rookie camp, and through 1 week of NHL training camp, he leaned on players like Shane Wright, who've been to 1 or 3 of these before, for some guidance.
He knows how to play, just trying to help him, give him some tips and help him out any way I can, and try to make it a little more comfortable, a little easier for him here, and make that kind of transition to this level easier for him.
Wright said his natural gift stood out immediately.
He's just talented. He's smart. He's fast. Really good with the puck, and obviously just short, small sample size out there today, but be nice to play with him in the future for sure.
The future will have to wait a little longer, something former first-rounder Wright is familiar with. Catton was sent back down to play another season with his junior team in Spokane, but said the learning experience was invaluable.
Day by day, hour by hour, I seem to learn something new and just add that to my kind of toolbox, I guess, of things. And, going back to junior, that's a lot of things that I can take back even to my teammates there and pass that on as a leader there. And it's a really cool experience. I came in a couple days early and to be around the NHL guys, and it's so cool just watching how they go through their everyday stuff, like Jordan Everly, a guy who I just grew up admiring so much, and then to kind of just see him in the gym and stuff, it's pretty cool.
And Catton said his individual leadership took a leap at his first NHL camp.
they will know where I came from, and you know, when I bring stuff back and say, hey, this is what so and so does in the NHL, they're gonna really listen to that, and you know, as would I if a guy came back from an NHL camp too. So I think there's gonna be lots of respect from that kind of aspect, but you know, it'll be cool, and I think that'll just help, you know, my team grow when I go back.
Catton signed a 3-year entry-level deal that will not kick in until he plays more than 8 games at the NHL level. From the Iceplex, I'm Chris Egan, King 5 Sports.
A new season at Climate Pledge Arena means new food options for fans. Up next, a sneak peek at the grub you can grab while at a Kraken game this season. Climate Pledge Arena is getting ready to welcome fans to a brand new season of hockey, and that means brand new food. Jose Cedeno of King 5's Evening gives us a sneak peek at the new menu cooked up by Chef Molly.
I'm at the Climate Pledge Arena to check out the new culinary experience, so let's go in.
Kraken fans are in for a treat because this menu has everything.
Who is so excited that hockey's back?
I can tell Chef Molly and her crew took the time to make it special.
Honestly, we just had a lot of fun with a lot of our local purveyors. It's so important to have representation. So we're launching the Dumpling House, which is a new concept. District 206.
With plenty of choices here, I don't even know where to get started.
So as the Kraken approach the 4th season, let's ask Chef Molly what are her 4 picks in this new menu.
The 4 things you must try. You've got to go see the Sweet Rides Bicycle and get the Taco Choco. That is insane. Start with dessert. That's who I am, right?
These will be cruising around on main concourse.
The second thing you have to get this year, oh my gosh, the Washington burrito. We take tri-tip, we are cooking that down, and we are slicing that, making fresh burritos. Third thing I absolutely think you should try are the fresh chucked oysters. We see that in a lot of premium spaces. You don't see that on the concession concept. This is Seattle. We need to have oysters everywhere.
They're 100% delicious, not even on a 1 to 10 scale.
And the 4th must-grab thing, the foot-long in-house corn dog. Hands down, people get it to share.
So when game day comes around, you know there's plenty of options for fans to enjoy.
I want every guest that comes into this arena feel like the menu is written for them.
On top of Kraken hockey, more sports and music are taking over Climate Pledge Arena in the next week. On Wednesday, Kygo performs. On Friday, it's the Rain City Showcase. The LA Clippers host the Portland Trail Blazers. This is the 3rd straight preseason the Clippers have hosted a game in Seattle. It all starts Tuesday when the Kraken open the season against the St. Louis Blues. They'll drop the puck at 1:30. And that'll do it for our debut of Kraken Home Ice. We'll have the show every Saturday night at 10:30. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Kraken Home Ice is sponsored by Primera Blue Cross.